So, you want to be a real estate investor, but where do you start? How do you know what information and sources to trust? That's where I come in. I'm Jonny Cattani, and this is the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. Hey guys, real quick, before we start, go to investwithcattani.com and download my free ebook, Is Commercial Real Estate Recession Proof? Now to today's show. What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jonny Cattani, and I'm joined today by Pili Yarusi. Pili is a loving mom and wife whose goal is to lead with Aloha by example. Pili is the co-founder and operator of Yarusi Holdings, LLC, with her husband, Jason. Yarusi Holdings is a multifamily investment firm that repositions underperforming properties through operational efficiencies, rebranding, and value-add renovations. Pili and Jason have managed a successful and profitable exit of these multifamily properties. The Yarusis currently have an active real estate portfolio of over $160 million. She co-hosts Multifamily Live, the Jason and Pili Project, Moms of Multifamily, and more. Moms of Real Estate, all can be found on Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Pili, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
We are very grateful to have you. Like I said offline, having Jason on was incredible. You guys obviously are doing great things, extremely busy, such an inspiration. We have so much to get to, and I'm very excited. But before we do, I would like your version of what led you guys to where you're at now, kind of where you started.
Ooh, how far do you want me to go back? So Jason and I, let's start with how we met, because that's actually really important to the foundation of our business. So we met bartending. We've always been working together. I remember the first day I met him was all the bartenders at this particular bar in New York City on the Hudson River called the Frying Pan. We also all did the construction. I painted and I kind of just manage the construction and anything that needed to be fixed off season, because this is a seasonal bar. And I was introduced to Jason because he did construction. So a fellow bartender brought him in, said he could bartend too. And I was like, sure, because I was also managing the bar. And I'm like, I'm 23 years old. This is my first management gig. And I'm just like winging it, writing notes, just like using my mindset. But at that moment, I knew that I needed to hire people who could do it better than me. Because as entrepreneurs, we have a tendency to want to do it all. When we first jump in, that we kind of have to. We have to learn it all, especially when we jump into multifamily or any sort of real estate. We tend to do it all. But even at the young age of 23, I realized I need to hire better people than me. Of course, when Jason said he could bartend, I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Let's see. He actually bartended circles around me, which was great. So he got into the bar. So let's fast forward a little bit. We're working together. I leave for California. He actually takes my job. I come back. I take the job back from him. And our boss loves pitting us against each other. We're really good friends, but we also have completely, especially at this point, we have completely different mindsets. Yep. I'm like this laid back girl from Hawaii that's really like aloha, want to hug everyone. And he's very regimented. He wants to make sure things gets done. He wants to push the envelope. We took that business to a multi-million-dollar business. We helped grow that business. So in 2013, the ending of 2012, I was done with New York. I left New York, never wanted to come back, and I went back to Hawaii. So Jason and I are still talking to each other at this point, and he calls me up. He's just like, meet me in California, in San Francisco, because I hadn't been there since I was a child. Met him in San Francisco. We've been together ever since.
Oh.
He's definitely a man that goes after what he wants.
Yes,
so moved back to New York. A year later, we started our family, and with the family and with deciding to kind of expand ourselves, that is when we realized we need to build a business that was ours, that we weren't helping somebody else with their legacy, that we were building our own legacy. So that's how we got into real estate. Jason's family has been in the construction industry for 40, 50, 60 years, depending on when you talk to my father-in-law. And the next big step for his family business was to move into flipping. So we got into flipping, we got into wholesaling, which introduced us to small multifamily, which introduced us to large multifamily. And here we are today with over $160 million of assets under management and across 1,400 units. That's the very, very quick version. I can dig in a little bit more, but that's how we got here.
I love it. Wow, what an incredible story. And I mean, literally going from the most eastern point to the most, western point, Hawaii, and then back. And holy cow, what an incredible story. And now here you guys are, started your own. So let's dig in a little bit. What has it been like? Obviously you two are very, yin and yang, which ultimately lends itself perfectly to not only a successful partnership in, family, personal, but in business as well. He's very regimented, 4:32 a.m.
Yes.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget. He's honestly one of the inspirations for why I have a random time of my alarm as well. Yeah, he's hardcore and I love it. Mm-hmm. So what has that been like, starting the business, operating the business, and also having a family and, keeping time for personal stuff as well?
Ooh, so at the beginning of our business, I used to tell people, while growing the business, we actually were also growing the family. Throughout the first years of our business, I was either pregnant or with a small child the entire time. That's why I created platforms like More Moms of Real Estate and Moms of Multifamily, because I wanted mothers to know that they could do this too, that if this was something that they wanted to do, they didn't need to use motherhood as an excuse not to. That you could build, that parents, not only moms, I want to talk to the dads too, that caretakers can build businesses. That's what a family really is. It's, if you look at it as a business, it actually runs better. So throughout this time we were building, and it, like you said the word busy. I actually don't like that word. I don't feel busy. I feel fulfilled most of the time. There's times when I'm just like, okay, I need to really hone in on my calendar when there's too much. But that's why we go to standards like The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. That helped to focus me, because Jason is very good at multitasking. I am very good if you get me to focus in on one thing. If you get me to do that one thing, I will do it the best ever. And then structuring it in such a way that I get that one thing done and the rest of my day just fulfills itself. And then my day has actually become very regimented. And again, this is actually because of real estate, because of being more entrepreneurial. I found that I needed to. Previous to this, it was very I had lists and I kind of kept to my list, but I wasn't very regimented. Bringing in more structure and organization to my life in the form of time blocking really, really helped. I hope I answered your question. I kind of went off on a tangent there.
No, 1,000%.
Perfect.
And that's so fun. You and I are very similar then in that sense, because I was like that too, right? I had a list. I knew what stuff needed to get done. And it's funny, I was literally having this conversation yesterday with one of my friends. What time blocking has done for my effectiveness is just it's astronomical, because now literally something will come up, right? Of course we have our calls, right? And those have their direction, but in terms of an actual task, I'm like, hey, this is what I need to get done. Cool. These are the blocks it's in. And it literally says on my calendar, this is what you're doing for this hour. And it's like, okay, but before that, I was kind of all over the place, and sometimes things didn't get done. And, and sometimes it was a slow morning and there was no routine. And now you have that routine and, you get in that flow and things like you said, just get done. And so kind of talk about, adding that, your morning routine and what that's like for you.
Well, having the routine, because growing up, I thought routine just like stifled creativity. By nature, I'm a creative person. So I thought, being on time and doing things regimented would just be the death of me. But I found by having my morning routine, so I don't wake up at 4:32 like Jason. I was during COVID, we would wake up together and start the day together that way. But I actually wake up a little later because I actually stay up a little later. I found that I have this evening burst of energy that I get a lot of really good ideas. I don't do anything necessarily important in the evening, but that's when I journal. That's when I write things down. That's when I let my mind wander. And I've come up with amazing ideas, some things that we're going to take care of soon, and some things that probably won't come to fruition. So my day actually starts at around 5:30. I wake up, have coffee, meditate, exercise. My kids get up around 6:15-ish. That time is all for them. But having that stable morning routine in the morning is everything. I can tell the difference when I don't get the necessary things done, which is meditate and exercise. Those things are kind of non-negotiable for me in the morning. Have to get that done. After that, definitely coffee, and then jumping in with the kids, because I don't want to have to think about anything particularly for me while I'm with my children, because I'm getting them ready for school. They get to see mommy and daddy's face during this time. We want to give them all of our time while we have them in front of us, and then we take them to school. Once they're in school from the hours of 9 to 2, that is straight one thing time, like getting that one thing done. As long as I get that one thing done, my day is set. Even if I have a list of 20 other things I have to do, I always choose that one thing, because I know once I get that done, it'll be successful. Because once 2:00 hits, that's kid time again. Let's go pick up the kids, have fun with them, because everything we do is for our family. Like, we have chosen that, Jason and I, as our big why, and we want to live by those terms, not just saying it as like this high convoluted thing that we're never going to reach. It's our family, it's our kids. We chose to have them. We chose to bring them into this world. So they deserve to be given the life and our face time, not just the phone, but our faces, one-on-one. So 9 to 2, that's the hours that I work. Once that's done, when I'm with the kids, I'm all there. And then that's why I have this time period between like 9 and sometimes 11. Once 11 hits, I'm out.
Yeah.
But between 9 and 11, that's more me time that I can choose to. I can go to sleep, or I can go read a book, or I can ... for me. Or Jason, I can simply just hang out, but he's usually asleep by like 9:30-ish, 10 o'clock. So that's basically our day. It's very regimented, but that 9 to 2 is usually open. That's phone calls, but I always get my one thing done there.
I love that so much. And obviously a big thing for you is helping other moms, right? Yes. What do you find with these moms who are, maybe trying to get into the business, or maybe just trying to find more regimen and structure to their day? What are you finding that's helping, and can help, other moms out there in terms of, sort of adding something in and their own time and all of that?
Well, I'm going to use the quote, "Success leaves clues." Whenever I talk, or I go to speaking engagements, or moms in particular reach out to me, I get one statement always. So how do you do it? How do you run your household? How do you take care of your kids? How do you raise your children and do real estate and be an entrepreneur and do this? And I just tell them, because I know I can. I've told myself I can. So therefore I can. There's that other quote, whether or not you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. So having that mindset shift, and again, this is not just for moms, this is for dads, this is for actually anyone, because we all have that thing that we're using as an excuse, whether it's our family, whether it's our health, whether it's whatever it is. If you're saying, I can't do this because of ... my kids, my family, my husband, my current career, whatever it is, it becomes an excuse. So how can you make your dreams, and I don't even want to say dreams. Jason and I actually had a great conversation the other day. We were talking about like our dream board and our vision board. And I was like, you know what? We're going to stop using that word dream and vision. We're just going to say, this is our reality board. This is what we want our reality to look like. So when I talk to everyone, I'm just like, what do you want your reality to look like? Even if your reality is amazing right now, what do you want it to look like 5 minutes from now? Because you have the power to change your reality. If you know and think and act as if you are already there, chances are you'll get there, and you'll actually get there faster. Once you start having that negative party in your head that tells you can't because of whatever reason. And I'm not saying for anyone that's listening to this and has like 3, 5, 6, 1, however many kids, like I said, we all have our lives and different lives, and there's always something. I'm not saying that it's been always easy. It hasn't, but it's easier if you know you can. And surround yourself. This is the other bonus. This is the other high. It's not even high level. You've all heard this before. Surround yourself with great people and you'll achieve greatness. Surround yourself with people who are doubting you or feed into that self-doubt, or are people who don't think they can. Chances are, again, you won't. So surround yourself with people who do want to take that next step, who don't just dream, and don't just visualize, but create the reality for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. You gave so many great points there. Right. And one thing I see a lot is a lot of people compare, right? Like, let's say, nobody's even started, right, as an entrepreneur. And so they instantly look at you and what you're doing, and they're like, well, I have a W-2, and you're like, okay, but you don't need to jump right in and go full time, right? Okay, let's find 2 hours in the day that you can block off and put towards, maybe shifting your mindset, right? Or, starting small, but you have to start. You got to take action, because you're just not going to accomplish anything if you don't. And if you're out there comparing yourself, and social media certainly is, can definitely make this worse for sure, right? You see these entrepreneurs who, they're out doing their thing, traveling all over the world, but, they worked their way up to that. And so you have to remember that people started somewhere. Like, I had, big names on the podcast before I even launched. And I was like, what the heck are you doing on my podcast? They're like, I sat in your seat one day. I was right there. And you're just like, oh yeah, there's a human on the other side of this. Sure, they got $1 billion portfolio now, but they were a scared kid one day too, And when you help people understand that and help them start, then, that progress can take place. And then, yeah, sure, eventually, hopefully you get to the point where you get to quit your W-2 and really live, like you said, your reality, which I love that more than vision and dream. But yeah, that's fascinating for sure. I love it.
I love how you tapped into the just start mentality, because that's what you have to do for anyone. Okay, I'm going to speak right to your listeners. For anyone who is thinking about doing this, stop thinking, just do it. What's the worst that could happen? You fail. Great. Get up and do it again. Do something else. Just do it. There's so many times that Jason and I have, I wouldn't say fallen on our faces, but close to it. And we just pick ourselves up and learn from it. Failure is not failure in the wide scope of, oh my goodness, I'm just going to crawl up into a ball and like sit in the corner. Great. Let yourself do that for 5 minutes and get back up. Realize what you did wrong, or what happened, or what didn't you know, or who do you have to go to get the answers, figure it out, and make those dreams and visions and all of it into reality. You have a goal, set the action steps to get to that goal and get it done, and then move forward. I also think that success can be a failure too. Mm-hmm. So much. And you talked about social media. I adore social media. I love the fact that we get to talk to thousands of people, hundreds of people, tens of thousands of people, depending on your followership, a day, an hour, a minute. But for anyone that's listening, don't let that be your reality. People buy followers. People have people working for them to make sure their social media accounts look a certain way. Some just focus on the positive. There is so much more that is happening within businesses than just what you see on social media, because social media, a lot of it, it's a commercial. Yep. It's showing you the bright spots and not always showing you the negative spots that happen. Those things that we have to do on a daily basis. Today, Jason's doing full due diligence on a portfolio where we're acquiring in North and South Carolina. And he is digging in. He's looking at the bad things. So when you're doing your research, especially when you're looking at people, because the people we follow on social media are also part of our sphere, they affect our brain, really dig in. Don't just look at the surface of the pretty Instagram, the follower count. Really dig in and look at who these people are that you're comparing yourself to, and then just stop. Because there is no comparison to you. You are you. You are never going to be anybody else. You're never going to be me. You're never going to be Jonathan. You're never going to be Jason. You're just simply going to be you. And that is great. There is greatness in you that does not have to include the comparison that goes on every single day, because I do it too. I see these extraordinary social media accounts, and I'm just like, how do I get there? But then I really dig in. I'm just like, okay, I won't buy followers. Or maybe that person started 10 years before me.
Yep.
You don't like really dig in and understand that you're going to go at your own pace. You're going to reach your goals. You're going to bring your people with you, and you can do it. You just have to believe that.
Yep. Gosh, I love that so much. There's a couple ironies that I love that I've learned when getting in, and I'll just speak to this industry specifically, is one, failures are actually celebrated in this industry. Mm-hmm. I've literally had an investor who was like, I'm not going to invest in a deal till you can call me and tell me about a failure. Right.
Yes.
And you realize you're like, oh, wow. Okay. Like that's a real thing. And number two, not that many people actually care. And I don't mean care malicious. They don't care maliciously. I just mean they have their own lives. Mm-hmm. So when you actually do fall on your face and you get up and you look around, you realize nobody's really even watching anyway, right?
No.
You've got
you
your
just
close
think they
network.
are.
You've got your close network, of course, who's there for you, and they'll, pick you up and help you, and they're going to help you no matter what. But you realize that, the thousands of people who may see you on Instagram, they don't care.
No.
They've got their own lives. And once you realize that, you can mess up or fail or, make a mistake, you just learned how not to do something. Uh-huh. It's crazy. But this has been amazing. I could talk mindset all day. I do want to get to your business. You talked about Jason's doing his due diligence. You're on the operation side of things. What is it? You've got this deal coming up. So he's digging in there. What is it that you typically would focus on for an acquisition like this?
So I'm a co-founder of Yarusi Holdings, but digging deeper, my sweet spot is investor relations and education. I actually just changed my title. Jason and I have actually been working on a side project called Legacy Leaders. I have been opening up you and I both know the opportunity that lies within multifamily and real estate syndication in particular. The crypto world, and particularly the crypto NFT world, does not. It's very volatile and a crazy space. And I brought what we do here to that space. So it was a great test. We brought in a good 36 individuals into this education program, and we're going to be opening it up to the wide public. You don't only need to buy it with crypto. We're going to do it just by a regular website. So that has been a great test. And I realized with that test that this education is needed, that passive investors, and just investing in general, when you did your first one, what was the biggest hurdle? Simply doing it, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things you didn't know. And being able to walk a passive investor through this world, especially for their first time. I mean, our minimums start at 50 now. They were 25, but they're 50 now. That's, for most people, that's a good chunk of change. That's savings, that's their IRA, that's whatever that is. They've worked hard for their money, and they should know step by step what's going to happen to it. So instead of revisiting with every new investor that I bring in, we've created an education program to bring investors in and let them learn step by step what's going to happen within this process. So within our real estate syndications, I am the investor relations. I have calls all day long because I love talking to people, and I'll talk to everyone. And this means you too. If you're listening to this, hit that link below, go to the passive investing button and have a conversation with me. I believe that this is the best way to learn, to talk to people who are already doing it, and also to talk to people who aren't just trying to funnel you into something. Because if I talk to someone, and I know you do this too, Jonathan, if I talk to someone and they say, well, I want a quick return on my investment, I know I'm not the person for them. So
1,000%.
I'll go talk to one of my flipper friends. I'll say, hey, go ahead and call my friend XYZ and talk to her about investing in her deals, so that when they're actually ready to invest in a larger investment, I know that they'll come back to me because I'm already helping them. So I basically have calls all day long, providing people with the opportunity to invest.
I love that. That's awesome. And that's honestly why I have stuck to the capital raising side, because I feel like my whole job just gets to be investor relations, right? And educating people. And I love when that light bulb goes off, right? When you finally cross that part where they get it. They're like, I always thought this was too good to be true. And you're like, yeah, but it's not, it's like, this is a real thing. Here it is, proof, right? And so you mentioned crypto people. What are you finding when discussing with crypto people? Because that's, my generation is just absolutely obsessed with crypto. I'm trying to lead my friends, not necessarily take them completely away from it. There's a portion of your portfolio that should be speculation. I will always think that. But help them understand that, it sounds like you're trying to get rich, right? And I want to show you how to build wealth, because rich can be taken away from you. So how are you navigating that discussion with them, and kind of showing them the light, so to speak?
You said it really, I'm going to say wisely. A lot of crypto bros and gals want to get rich, and they want to get rich quick because they've seen it done, and they've seen a lot of people just explode. And because they happened to be in it at the right time or knew the right people or ... however they made their crypto riches. We are still very much in a bear market, crypto winter, within that industry. How does my conversations go? So I've been digging in deep into especially the NFT portion of crypto. We've been in crypto since 2017. It wasn't something that I ever talked about. It was just another investment. And it wasn't until Gary V said he was selling tickets to a couple of conferences, 3 to be exact, if you bought his NFT, that I was just like, okay, well, let's do it. And then the whole minting process, I mean, we could talk forever on that. So I really dug deep because I saw the opportunity to, again, teach people how to properly invest, because there are those people who are coming in with the investment knowledge. And then there's those that just see this bright, shiny object called crypto and NFTs, and they see people making money and trading and doing all this stuff, and they lost so much money. And I feel like I wasn't loud enough because I've been in that world for about a year now. So number one, I'm getting louder. I'm actually reaching out to people that I actually know personally now. And I'm I won't say badgering them, but nicely saying, there's a better way, there's a better way, there's a better way. At least telling them 7 times. So hopefully one of those 7 times, they'll understand that there is a better way, having these one-on-one conversations. I actually just had a conversation with one of my students, and they are, I would say, 95% in crypto and NFTs, particularly in NFTs. Yes.
Wow.
95% of their
that
portfolio.
Hurts me just to hear that.
Yeah. Because I asked them, what's their number? They're probably going to listen to this, so I'm not going to go in too deeply. I asked them, so how much are you invested in crypto? They gave me that number. I was like, okay, so how much are you invested in real estate? They have real estate holdings, but not just a few, I think they have a single family and a duplex. And I was like, okay, so how much do you have in an emergency fund? He was like, no, I don't have one. I'm like, okay. Oof. Because he had asked me particularly for asset allocation and just how he should be structuring his portfolio. I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. You are not going to sell any of your crypto NFTs right now because this is not the time to sell it. If you see a moment where you can even 2x your return, sell.
Yep.
Sell. I know you want to hold until you can do that 100x. Don't. Even if you can do that 2x, sell, because you need to put that capital, sell plus the 30% tax. Because you're going to need to put that capital into your emergency fund. And I said, okay, now you have this emergency/investment fund. I need you to take this emergency/investment fund. And was saying, usually based on his and his wife's intake, they have an excess of about $5,000 to $10,000, but this is just rotating; it never grows. So I was like, okay, we're going to start growing that. So this is sort of how, I could keep on going down this rabbit hole, but this family, I'm just going to say a family, this family they're in their 30s. Their risk profile is a lot different than mine. I have 3 children. I'm a mother. I have a husband where we don't have W-2 jobs. We're firmly in real estate, but our portfolio is very much diversified and we have a large emergency fund. So I was like, I know your risk profile is a lot different than mine, but you need to have this stability.
Yep.
So you can grow from that. And then you can start taking from this and investing in other projects. And I also told him, I was like, no more NFTs. No more. You can still drip into crypto if you can afford it. but no more NFTs, no more. It's not worth it. It's speculation.
I don't want to put it down too hard, because we do have listeners, right, who are in it. And, I don't want to be a naysayer, but man, I'll tell you, if there's something out there that looks like there's no future, I mean, I'd rather you invest in the stock market than at least,
So I'm actually going to say something that I haven't said on a podcast before. I have actually not large, but a decent portfolio of NFTs, because I was really researching it. And there's a lot of projects out there that I know, like, and trust, but I brought my real estate mind into NFTs, and I bought into projects that I knew might go somewhere, that I trusted them. And I invested a few $100s, maybe a few $1,000s in some of these projects. But the thing is, unlike a lot of people who are jumping into this wide world, there's so much you can do with the technology. It's amazing. And we could be here forever talking about the connections. But that's not what a lot of people are there for. Like we said, when we first started this conversation, a lot of people are in the NFT space to make money, to get rich, which is fine. There is that aspect of it. And we need to, if you are, okay, I'm going to speak directly again to your audience. If you are in the NFT space, please be mindful. I know you hear the words, do your own research all the time, but are you really? Really deep dive into it. Don't just look at something that someone said on Twitter and said that you need to ape into this project, that you need to jump into this project, that you need to hurry up and get in, because that's how you're going to lose money.
Yeah.
You're going to lose money big time. I have friends who put all of their assets onto some of these platforms and lost it all.
That scares me. Sorry, continue.
Have this conversation with your friends, please, Jonathan. And if you're listening to this, please, if you're not going to reach out to me, reach out to Jonathan and have a conversation how to stabilize your portfolio, so that regardless if the real estate market goes down or the crypto market goes further down, you will be stabilized and your assets will be safe.
Yeah, that was so well articulated. I love that asset allocation. The thing that makes me so nervous about it is, as someone who came from, the stock world, I was a licensed broker. There's no regulation, right? And so you have these guys and gals, we won't even, who can get on Instagram and who can pitch, and even these big name, athletes and actors and personalities who can get on and say, go buy my NFT, and they can do that legally. Technically there's nothing illegal about that, right? Whereas I wasn't even licensed to give advice. So when I was talking, I had high net worth clients that I worked with when I was, licensed, and I couldn't give advice. So I had to be careful about, the verbiage that I use when I talk to them, right? Stuff like typically, and, just like, you found ways to sort of, dance around it.
Yeah. But you have to be mindful.
Correct. But you have these people going on and be like, yeah, go buy this, right? I think the Paul brothers got in trouble for like a pump and dump on one of their NFTs, and you're starting to see this be more and more prevalent. And that's what worries me, is that there's no regulation. I understand that's kind of like the appeal of it, right? It's, decentralized and unregulated. And, we're trying to get away from, paper currency, and that's great. And I understand that technology is coming. That is most likely the future, but just be mindful and be careful of who you're listening to, right? I understand these people have a ton of followers and they're famous, but do they really know what they're talking about? And if they do, great. Like if they have the portfolio to back it up, they have all the research, great. Absolutely. Right. Like it'd be the same as, following me into a real estate deal. And just like with you as well, right? Like track record, you can see that we do it ourselves, but just be careful if you're listening to, and that's what worries me.
That is the conversation that needs to happen within that world. So within my year of research into this industry, there is a use case for the technology. Within the technology, they have to figure out why. Like, why would we as multifamily syndicators need the technology? I'm actually talking to a group that is trying to make that connection and bring the syndication, the actual syndication, to the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you know anything about like minting a project and doing all that stuff, it's a lot of work. It's a whole nother job on top of everything that you need to do on the syndication part. So I think, and we can close this topic of NFTs with this thought. This is particularly for anyone that's already in that industry. Why? Like, really, like, wipe away the art, wipe away the shininess of it, wipe away even the community aspect, like take it deep down just to the technology. Why do people need this? I hear, it's accountability, transparency, everything's on the blockchain. If you really wanted to, you could figure out like what my portfolio really looks like. I could show it to you. I don't need the blockchain to do that. So anyone who's listening to this would be a great thing for someone to explore, is why do we need it? Why do we need this new technology? And because all this came out of the question of like talking to other individuals, and for any of our capital raisers out there, look for places, because this is what I did a year ago, of people that you don't normally talk with. Mm-hmm. Look for those new places where you can start making more new friends and give more opportunity to them. I didn't realize that when I first jumped in. It was really, I just wanted a ticket to Gary Vee's conference. But I realized that this, like the crypto NFT world, needs us.
Yeah.
They need stability, because a lot of people lost money and continue to lose money. But lots of people lost money a month or so ago, month or two ago, when everything just kind of plummeted out of nowhere. These platforms fell apart that were promising the world to people.
Yep.
And now people have just lost everything. So stabilize for anyone that, and regardless, even if you're in like 95% real estate, I know real estate itself, you can diversify within this asset class, but look towards other ways, look towards more speculation, look towards even the stock market a little bit. We still have a little bit there, and diversify your portfolio.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm such a huge advocate for diversification. Mm-hmm. And like you said, not even, and you can, right? You can diversify asset class, location, and those are all great. And you should do that regardless, even if you were only 60% real estate allocated, that 60% should be diversified as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're 95% into one single asset, I mean, I would even tell you not to do that with real estate, right? Like I would say, hey, let's look at some crypto opportunities and the stock market, and by no means, again, am I an advisor, but there's a way to do this correctly, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There's playbooks out there of successful people, and I get it. Like this technology is awesome, and some of these projects are very, very cool. Like I love to see them, and this artwork is amazing. But I love what you asked, why, right? Why? Just ask why. And if you can answer that, then by all means, I'll support you. But it's feeling a lot like that question can't really be answered outside of why I like it. And it's not necessarily the answer.
Not yet. There's going to be, someone's going to come up with the answer that's past transparency and all this other stuff. There's going to be a use case for this technology. There already is. But why do businesses need it? I know a lot of businesses are testing it, but it's a lot on the commercial level. Like Starbucks is jumping in, like you said, like a bunch of big names have already jumped in, buy our NFT, and it's a way to raise their just knowledge of their brand. And why do we need to bring it into real estate? Why do we need to invest in this? Somebody will answer it one day. So to bring it back to the capital raise and providing opportunity part that we do every single day, this is what we know, love, and trust, which is real estate, is bringing people, regardless of where they are in their lives, whether they have a W-2 job, whether they're this crypto maxi, wherever they are in their world, I want to be able to talk to them. So that is what I do all day. That's my position in our company, which was one of your original questions. Like, what do I do?
Yeah,
I provide opportunity.
I love that so much. And that's one thing that I've been working on, is going and finding those places where especially those crypto people hang out. Right. And that's kind of my next step moving forward, is finding them. But this has been amazing. I'm glad we've been able to talk about this, because man, I have been dying to get that out there. And I do a solo episode on Fridays, and I talk about it. But again, I don't want to put it down, right? Because that's definitely not the way you're going to get people to come listen to you. But
we're not putting
right
industry down. Like Jason, I mean, just to be fully transparent, we're dripping crypto into our portfolio as we speak. Like, we continuously buy, especially with the market being down. But I have definitely slowed down on purchasing any NFTs until I can answer this question, why? And there is community, and there's so many amazing people that I've met within these communities. But a lot of the people that I know have, that's called in real life businesses. Those are the people that I have invested in. It was a way to angel invest in a small number in multiple companies. That is what I saw the NFT world as, being able to put $100, $1,000 that was building something great. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. And like I said, it will come for sure, and so I just hate seeing people go to zero, right? Because one thing I talked about with clients in the stock market is, yeah, sure, the market's down, but you didn't lose anything. It's unrealized. It's not a loss till you realize it. But yeah, unfortunately, if something goes to zero, that's it. It's zero. Yep. That's it. And I mean, we could honestly talk about this forever. Yeah. When it comes down to it, I think what we're both getting at is be careful. Be careful. Be mindful. Yep. Do your research. And this is what we would say across all asset classes, and invest in people, not in projects, not in property. It's in people first. So research the people. The numbers have to work, definitely, but the people come first. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like anything else, right? Like, I'm not going to bring an investor into a deal until I show him the due diligence and the process, and educate them and understand why this deal is being presented to them. Just do the same thing, right? That's all you got to do. Yep. I love it. All right. Well, let's wind down here. This has been incredible. We'll jump to the final five here. First question, best advice you've gotten from a mentor? Oh, really? It's just do it. Get it done. For a while there, I'm very much cerebral. Like, I'll think about things. And this is not even from a mentor. This is more from Jason. He's very much a bulldog. Let's do it and figure it out as we go. So that has worked for us. So just get it done. If you have a goal, a dream, just do it. I love it. That's awesome. What is it about your career that makes you feel like you're fulfilling your why? Because it is actually. because we've chosen to do real estate, we not only get to help our families, we get to help other people's families as well.
I love that so much. Yeah, such a huge part of this industry is helping, and it's so amazing. Favorite non-real estate or investment related book?
Non-real estate investment. Is there any? Gosh, can I don't think there is any.
Business,
can I say Harry Potter?
Yeah, of course.
I don't think
Harry Potter.
I don't think I read a non-self-help industry.
Well, self-help is
book.
non-real estate or investment related. Self-help works.
Geez, you took all the books. I haven't read one in so long. Let's go for actually The Only Woman in the Room. Does that count? Actually,
Absolutely.
That's entrepreneurial, but that's
that's fine.
That's from my friends over at the Invest Her community. That was a great book.
Nice. I love it. The Only Woman, what is it called?
Actually I have it right here. The Only Woman in the World, and also Girls Stop Apologizing is right next to it. But here we go. Oops, cool. I am destroying things. Only Woman in the Room. By my friend Ashley Wilson.
Got it. Cool. I'm going to put that on the list. Beautiful. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Just being me. That's it.
I love
That's
it.
me.
It's amazing. Well, you guys are crushing it. So absolutely inspirational. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you and learn more?
Really, just our website, www.Yarusi Holdings, YARUSI Holdings with an S.com. That's the easiest way. You can get to our investor website. You can get to our regular website, and you can also get to our educational programs there as well.
Awesome. We will link down the show notes, make it super easy. Pili, wow. Thank you so much for your time. This has been incredible. So grateful.
What a great conversation. Thank you, Jonathan.
Absolutely. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Listen, I know it's cliche and you hear it all the time, but please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Even though this is technically a daily podcast, you know it's coming out the next day. We have a ton of content coming your way. So please like and subscribe. It helps a ton. Leave comments. Would love to know what you guys think. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks so much.